Hello there, and today I'd like to bring you a review for the game ReZero Starting Life in Another World, The Prophecy of the Throne. There is a few things I'd like to point out before this review starts. I'd highly recommend watching the first season of the ReZero Starting Life in Another World anime, or read up arcs 1, 2, and 3 of the web novel. I'll put a link to those novels in the description of this video. And if you do enjoy or find that this video helpful in any way, I'd like to ask that you subscribe to the channel and join the Discord server. With all of that said, let's get right into this review. Alright, so first thing to point out about this game is it's a visual novel. It has some open world and combat scenes to it, but 80% of the game is a visual novel. You can find it on Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. This game will cost $75 plus tax in Canadian dollars. But that said, let's move on. So the first thing you'll see when you boot up the game is of course the main menu screen and the option screen right to it. Now this game has both English, sub, and dub. If you do not know what that means, well, the voice acting can be set to English, and same with the subtitles, as well as being able to be put back into Japanese. Now these are the only two languages this game supports. Now other than that, the options menu is just your basic menu. So let's move on to this. Okay, moving into the gameplay part of this review, I'd like to point out that this game is quite long and there's a lot of gameplay. For example, it took me 20 plus hours to even beat my first run of this game. Now I'm going to try and keep this part of the review spoilers free the best I can, but if you've watched or read the ReZero series, then there would not really be many spoilers for what I'm about to say. Alright, now for the graphics part of this visual novel review. Now the graphics for this visual novel part of the game is amazing. The effects that play while you're listening to this and just watching what is happening is amazing. What the devs have done for this part of the game is great, props to them. But now I'm gonna talk about the combat / exploration part of this game. They are not as good as what you had hoped for, nor are they as good as the visual novel parts of this game. But even though I just said all of that, it still holds its own. At first you will think that the graphics are a bit goofy or weird, but despite that, some of the effects that play during these parts of the game, I feel like it makes it hold its own, and it's still nice looking. Now no, I'm sorry to the REM fans that may be watching this, there is no free cam. But this brings me to my next topic of this game. The camera angles. That are fixed camera angles set to you can be annoying at times. With all of that said, let's move on to this review. Now the gameplay is, well, what you would expect from a visual novel. You press A after the screen plays and more subtitles and voice acting plays. But that's not what I feel like carries this game in the gameplay aspect of this game. Despite its graphics during these parts, the gameplay is really fun to play and a puzzler to feel to it. It's quite enjoyable to play though. Its combat is, well, not what you would think when I say combat. This game does not have some Dark Souls combat. No, its combat is more of a tactic style combat system. You make choices before the fight, and this changes how the fight will play out. So looking around before and not just rushing into things will help you out a lot in your time playing this game. Now you may ask, what do I mean by tactic style combat system? Well, let me explain. You don't really decide where your characters go, but you can decide how they act in the game by getting info on the fight, by talking to them. The combat system can not be easy at times. It can be very hard to figure out what you have to do in the fights, this end game, and that's what I feel makes this game's combat system good and enjoyable to play through. Plus, it's just nice to switch it up from your standard visual novel style game. Oh boy, here we go. Alright, the voice acting is quite decent. Most of the characters sound the same as they do in the anime. There's a few parts of this game where the voice acting does not sound very good, but these are very rare. So if this is what would make you not want to play this game, don't worry about the voice acting overall, it's fairly good, but it has its moments. Now, if you were to choose the Japanese voice acting, then I got nothing to say about it. I do not use Japanese in games like this, so if you choose to use it, then go ahead, but I do not have a review for it. Like I said at the start of the review, at the start of this topic, sorry, most of the characters sound the same as the anime, but there's a few where I find the game made the voice acting a bit worse. For example, Anastasia Hoshin. I feel like the game didn't do her voice acting as good as the anime did, at least in the English, but I guess it's better than 15 minutes of screen time, am I right? But as I said, most characters' voice acting is still quite good. Now, if that's said, that leads me to the next part of this review, the characters. Now, most characters art in this game are great. The interactions between characters is done very well. Just overall, the characters are all done very well, from art to interactions. But I am going to keep this section short. This is more of a follow-up to the voice acting. So that said, this topic's done. Yes. Indeed, one of the best aspects to this game. The music, let me tell you something. When you start playing this game, you're in for a treat. All the music in this game are amazing. The music is the best part of this whole game in my opinion. And honestly, there's a good reason for it. But there's not much you can say about the music aspects of the game, really. So all I have to say about the music is it keeps this game together even with when the voice acting gets bad, and the soft music in background just keeps it together. I'm even listening to its music while writing this script, so trust me, it's good. Well, I would have to say that all of this just about wraps up this review for the game ReZero Starting Life in Another World Prophecy of the Throne. Now, I would have to give this game an overall rating as well, so here it is. With all of that said, I hope this review helps you decide if you want to go and get this game. Maybe you're a ReZero anime fan who's waiting for Season 3 to come out, or just a gamer who likes this style of game and wants to know if this game's good. Well, there you go. Hope it helps. And a few things to ask you before you leave is to join my Discord if you'd like to talk to others who like this style of content and don't miss the next upload of mine. And plus, it would really help me out. But with all of that said, once again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my review of this game. And I hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Peace out.